And welcome into the Thursday edition. Robby and Rexrode, 102.5 The Game. Robbie Stanley, Joe Rexrode, Ian Safar here with you, presented by Green Ventures Landscaping, outdoor patios, landscaping design, lawn maintenance, and more. Visit greenventureslandscaping.com. We are live from our Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning Game Nashville studios, home of the $99 yearly Beehive membership, where the buzz is always about great service. Joe Rexrode, good morning. How we doing? What's going on?
Doing great. Got the glow of victory. I know we're gonna talk. We're gonna break down the football thoroughly later, and I definitely want people who actually know soccer to tell me about that damn red card, because I'm very confused. But I just got to say, awesome win last night. We went to an establishment which was packed. Just, packed to the gills, people, chanting USA and all this stuff. And then everybody's, singing Country Roads at the end. It's coming out. I was like, okay, apparently it's on the broadcast. I was like, am I saying correctly? Is Pochettino singing Country Roads right now? Am I saying that correctly? I mean, he might be like the greatest American hero of all time. He's from Argentina. Yeah. That was freaking awesome.
I mean, look, it's a great song. Everybody knows it, so everybody needs to get involved with it. It's good stuff.
That's the thing. I'm like, that dude knows the song Country Roads? Okay, let's go.
Ian, how we doing? What's going on? How does the round of 16 sound?
Good morning. Doing great, thanks. Happy long weekend upcoming here. It's a Friday for a lot of people, including us. But yeah, they looked good. A couple of goals that could have been called offside early on, too. You throw in the red card, and how they played after that was very, very well. Awesome free kick. So all things considered, I mean, didn't give up a goal. I mean, Bosnia-Herzegovina barely even had a scoring chance, really.
Yeah.
So all in all, I don't think you can complain about that win at all.
Red card upsets me greatly. It really does.
It should.
It upsets me greatly. And look, I'm not, some soccer expert out there, and I understand if you want to like super slow-mo it down, it looks a little rough. But the red card upsets me greatly, Joe Rexrode. It's the World freaking Cup. Let's get a little less soft.
I that's the thing. It's like, and that's where I'm like, okay, I'm going to defer, because I agree. I'm like, how could, like, the red card should be for something that's clearly intentional. And yeah, if you slow it down, I guess you could tuck yourself into that. It's just hard for me to buy that on that play. I mean, it sucks the outcome, and that's a big part of it, right? But like that, the red card should be reserved for like something clearly intentionally dirty, I think, or at least that's what I would like to see. But I have seen soccer people say, "Oh God, what are you talking about? That's clearly a red card." Okay, and the intent is not supposed to be. I don't know, man.
I haven't seen anybody say that.
Yeah, maybe my freaking algorithm on Twitter is a mess, but there's people who appear to be like knowledgeable about soccer who think that was correct. I've seen a lot more people though, complain about it. That's why I'm soliciting the. And I know Ian, you're one of them, but others who really know the game, because it just, I mean, Joey from Bellevue is already calling it. Yeah, a lot of swear words. The text line, swear words right away. Okay, and not agreeing with it.
With how punitive the red card is, you better be freaking sure when you're given a red card that's what it is, and that's what makes me, I think, more mad than anything is, this game is one thing, but now he's out for the round of 16, and it's like, well, thanks, man. I mean, it's just total BS.
And he is, by the way, like becoming,
he's the best striker in U.S. men's history.
Yes.
Yeah, and like he's becoming, because sometimes I think the World Cup a little bit like it's like the Olympics a little bit, where every 4 years you'll have these new American heroes who, a speed skater, a figure skater, a sprinter, whatever it is, a swimmer. Obviously, the first time Michael Phelps comes on the scene, whatever you want to look at, and that's what he's becoming one of those people in sports. And now we got to try to win this next round without him. Damn.
It upsets me greatly. Good news is we're Americans. We win, and we won the other day. We're going to win again in the round of 16. So very much looking forward to that.
I like it.
Very much looking forward to that. Win. We will get heavily into the game last night. The U.S. men's national team punching their ticket to the round of 16. Throughout the show today, we'll take your thoughts on that. 615-737-1025. It was free agency day in the NHL yesterday. Preds made pretty significant trade. We'll take your thoughts on that. Charles Robinson will be with us later in the program as well at 8 o'clock for his weekly visit. So looking forward to Charles Robinson later in the program. Joe, big trade by the Predators yesterday as well. They trade for Maverick Bourque, who we talked about yesterday on the show. We're having the Jason Robertson discussion with the Dallas Stars, and one of the names we brought up was Maverick Bourque as to whether or not somebody would try to go offer sheet when it comes to Bourque with the Stars. Well, they didn't need an offer sheet; it was a trade, and the Predators acquired Bourque yesterday along with Ilya Lyubushkin that comes from the Dallas Stars, and they send a second and third round pick to the Dallas Stars the other way. Look, Bourque, I really like. He's 24 years old. He's a guy that has played at center and on the wing. If you heard Chris McFarland talk yesterday, it sounds like they think he can play center. So I think that's going to be where they try to start him. So you're talking about a 24-year-old potential top six solution at center that you gave up a second, a third for. I mean, that's pretty good stuff if you're Chris McFarland there. And basically the reaction around the league is, what the heck is Dallas doing? And I know a little bit of what Dallas is doing. I mean, they're cap strapped and they're trying to get every dollar in there and sign Jason Robertson back to a contract. So that's what they're doing. But it's still around the league. Like all I saw yesterday was, well, Nashville just absolutely fleeced Dallas in this move. Bourque put up 20 goals last year, 41 points as a 24-year-old. And again, you're talking about somebody who has played basically, 2 full seasons in the NHL, and he's been a good player. Now, is he going to turn into some 85-point guy? I don't know. Like, I don't know if he's going to be that, but I really like him, and I think he's got a chance to be a top 6 center for you if his upward trajectory continues to go here. Joe, what'd you make of the Maverick Bourque move by the Nashville Predators?
Yeah, I like it a lot, and this is Chris McFarland taking advantage of a situation, right? Leveraging a situation perfectly. And we talked yesterday about, I talked about my Blackhawks buddy who wanted them to offer sheet both of them, Bourque and Robertson, and put them in a bind. They're in a bind because, like you said, I mean, they have their win now. They can't lose Robertson. You can't. Yeah. So, my Blackhawks buddy was very pissed last night. But hey, you got Cole Smith. You did. Consolate. You got Cole Smith. All right, so there you go. But no, I really like it. I think it's really smart, and I'm intrigued by, I don't know. I don't have a great feel for it. I mean, obviously last year was a good year for him. 20 goals, 42 points. That was a big question. Was okay. He had played some center. He played wing for them. What's he going to be with the Preds? But looks like this is a guy who could be a key part of your future, and that's when you're out there trading for players in this league. Look, he's pretty rapidly, and I don't know how much better overall. We'll see, but he's pretty rapidly making this a younger and faster roster.
He is, and I at this point, with how many prospects they've got and how many draft picks that they have had before they started trading some of them away. I would rather see McFarland, if a deal like this presents itself, I'd much rather you use a second, a third round pick to go get somebody who has already established himself in the NHL and go that route than, take a chance on a second, third round pick here in a couple of years. Now go get Maverick Bourque if the opportunity presents itself. I mean, honestly, for the price being as cheap as that was, when they made this deal yesterday, I was like, that's a fantastic move. And, that's first guessing that. We'll see how it works out. But there haven't been a ton of moves the Predators have made over the last few years where it's like, man, that's just an unbelievable move, especially via trade, right? Like, I think it's a fleecing. That's what it is. Like, this is a fleecing of a trade from Chris McFarland.
Yeah, and now granted, there were some moves not too long ago that, I was excited about that didn't work out, but not the same idea. I mean, Poyle had some really good moves in that sell-off, back during the transition. But yeah, like a move that that brings you a potentially key. He's going to get every opportunity to be a very important player on this team and a young guy. And yeah, look, they've been flush with picks, and so it's really nice to be able to use some for something like this.
Stars fans are mad. They are mad. I saw a lot of that yesterday. Matter of fact, I saw some Stars fans like, why wouldn't you just keep Bork and let Robertson go? Right? Just let him go. Now, I get it. I mean, Robertson's a really good player. Now, I'm very interested to see how much money he's going to end up making and what that looks like. But Robertson's a very good player. But like this Bork kid, I mean, his last full year in the AHL, and I know it's the American Hockey League, so take it with a grain of salt, but he had 77 points in 71 games, right? Like he's a first-round pick. He just scored 20 goals this last year. And by the way, scored 20 goals on a team where there's just a lot of forwards in front of him, right? Like if you go look at that Dallas Stars roster, Maverick Bork, he's having to – it's not like he's getting just a ton of ice time out there because of all the players – that they've got in front of him. And I know Dallas dealt with a little bit of injury last year, and that upped his ice time a little bit. But I mean, his average time on ice last year was 15:29. It's not like he's out there playing 22 minutes a night or anything. So I think that's exciting. Like I look at his trajectory, and I think he's got the chance to turn into a pretty darn good player for the Nashville Predators.
Looks like a guy who's exactly about ready to move up in a lineup and have more opportunity. And every stop until this point says, yeah, this is a guy who, this is a top 6 guy.
Yeah,
this guy's going to produce for you.
615-737-1025, our phone number. We'll take your reaction to the Maverick Bork trade that Chris McFarland made yesterday for the Nashville Predators. We'll look at what else the Preds did in free agency, what else still could be coming. We'll take your thoughts on Team USA's win throughout the show as well last night in the World Cup. All that ahead. Robby and Rexrode, 1025 The Game. Welcome back in, Robby and Rexrode, 102.5 The Game. Taking your thoughts at 615-737-1025. Preds make the trade for Maverick Bourque yesterday with the Dallas Stars on the first day of NHL free agency. They also signed Alexander Kerfoot. We'll get into that move here in just a few minutes, but not an overly busy day on the free agency front for the Predators yesterday, but they did make a pretty shrewd trade, in my opinion, and now have a 24-year-old that I think, Joe, is going to figure into their top 6. So anytime you can add that, I think that's a good day if you're the Nashville Predators. So good stuff from Chris McFarland on that front. So in addition to that, now you look at the roster. We talked about this a little bit before the Bourque move. There's a lot of people, right, that are signed at forward right now. You look at it, and a lot of spots seem to be spoken for, given where the roster is right now on defense. You've got a lot of guys that are under contract and are on the team as we sit here today on July the 2nd. And it makes you wonder what else could be coming if you're the Nashville Predators and what else Chris McFarland could have up his sleeve. And Chris McFarland was asked about that yesterday from Alex Doherty. Here is what McFarland had to say.
Looks like you have about 14, 15 when Bourque signs forwards signed for under contract for next season. Defensemen, I think it's like 8 or 9. That seems like a lot for where you need to be for a season. Does that suggest that maybe you're working on something to move more players out because you've got 25, 26 guys right now?
Maybe. Yeah, maybe. Yeah. We're going to try, in all seriousness, we're going to try to, if we can improve the team, we're going to try to do it. I think the back end is something that we want to find a little bit more puck skill, a little more transition as part of our game. It's not easy to do, right? Those, as you can see by free agency, there wasn't a lot of those defensemen available. There's a reason for that. Those are the hard to get assets, really hard, right? Centers, top 2 line players. And I think we're in that age now where the cap's going up and teams aren't going to be as squeezed to get their own guys done, but it's going to require some creativity. It's going to require, threading the needle at times, and it may require some tough decisions or moving some players that maybe you wouldn't normally look to move in order to improve key areas of the ice. And I think defending in the middle of the ice is sort of like, up the middle in baseball. You got to be strong in those positions, and for us, we don't feel we're strong enough yet in those areas.
So that was McFarland yesterday. I thought a couple of interesting things throughout that. I mean, number one, he's clearly looking to make another move, right? Clearly.
Maybe.
Yeah, he's clearly looking to make a few more moves to this roster. So we'll see what that looks like. I mean, he said it in that answer, but it came up a few times yesterday. I mean, he's clearly looking to add on defense. And we've talked about this. Roman Josi is still obviously a really elite offensive defenseman, right? But other than him, they don't have anybody that's a playmaker offensively back there. I mean, it's just nobody. Like Haig's not that, Perbix is not that, Shea has been that at times in his career a little bit, but he's not been that here, right? So they don't have anybody right now. And maybe Ryan Ufko turns into that, but you're talking about somebody at this point that, relatively speaking, has barely played in the NHL. So we'll see what that looks like for Ufko, but they clearly, that's that puck-moving, playmaking defenseman is something that they are pretty clearly looking for, and that came up a few times yesterday. And, I also thought, the end part of that answer from McFarland of, sometimes when you're trying to fix some of these spots on your team, looking to move players that you wouldn't normally want to move may be part of it. I thought that was an interesting part of the answer, too.
Yeah, that's a very interesting part of the answer. Because one thing that definitely came to mind with this trade is like, okay, so now, March or so, right? Move him on, and doesn't that just make sense? But again, we can talk about it. Doesn't mean that you can pull it off. That's one thing that initially comes to mind. And yeah, in terms of, first of all, Chris McFarland knows well the value of a defenseman like that, considering where he came from and what they've had the last few years. But you need someone else to complement Josi. You also need someone to replace Josi soon.
Yep.
You know that not too far down the road you're going to lose that, and so I'm very intrigued, and I expect there to be more big or big-ish moves here from Chris McFarland.
Well, and they signed Alexander Kerfoot yesterday. And look, I'll just be totally honest with you. When they made that signing, my initial reaction was, why? Like, what are you like? It feels a little redundant to me, honestly. Like because you're looking at, you've already brought in Colton and Drury, and you made the Adam Edstrom trade. I mean, you've brought in what I would say, or some bottom Hoglander, throw him in the mix. Like there's some bottom six pieces that you've already brought in. And Alex Kerfoot at this stage of his career, I mean, he's as a 5th round pick, has carved out a pretty nice career for himself. And at the top of his game, he was putting up 50 points. That's not nothing to sneeze at. That's a long time ago at this point, right? Like, and he's 31, he'll be 32. He just came off an injury where he had a season where he had a lot of injuries to deal with. But even before that, I mean, he went from 13 goals, 32 assists, 45 points 3 seasons ago to a couple years ago. It was 11 goals, 28 points in 81 games. And now you're talking 34 games played last year and 13 points. Like it feels like he's trending down. Right. So
yeah,
we'll see. I mean, it's not a ton of money. I mean, but it's also, I mean, it's not nothing either, the contract that they gave him. So I saw that contract yesterday and I was like, it just feels a little repetitive as to what they've got. And they've already got a ton of forwards, right? I mean, you just heard it laid out in that question. So I think, the majority of his answer talked about defense there and looking for a defenseman. And I have no doubt that they are. But I think there's going to be maybe a forward or two that gets shipped out of here not too far from now.
Yeah, you would have to think so, right? And of course, Kerfoot is a little bit out of line with what everything else going on. Guys in their 20s, things like that. So, but the signing just keeps pushing that idea that like there's got to be like moves that either he knows happen or he knows he must make to kind of deal with this glut. So, I mean, everybody can. Again, we've talked about the likely candidates, but maybe there's a surprise in there.
Maybe so. Mark from Ashland City says, Adam Vingan said it best. Preds weaponized their cap space, took on a contract off the Stars' hands to help them with Robertson and get Bork. Also, don't have to give up a first-round pick. It really is. Like, it's a really good trade, I think, for McFarland. Like, this is, to me, Maverick Bork. I thought maybe there's a chance. And by the way, I mean, this is something to keep an eye on. They need to get him signed pretty soon because, I mean, he's an RFA. He can still get offer sheeted by somebody. Now, the Predators are in a much different cap situation than Dallas was. So basically, like if somebody offer sheeted Maverick Bork at this point, the Predators would just match it and they would say, hey, thanks for getting the contract done for us. So right. I don't think anybody is going to offer sheet Maverick Bork. Technically, they can. But that's the benefit of being in the cap situation that the Predators are in. If anybody did it at this point, the Predators would just match it and then they'd move on with it after that. But I'm interested to see what the deal looks like for Bork because, in terms of NHL body of work, it's not a ton right now, right? He did just put up 20 goals. I think if you project him forward, he's going to be a top 6 player for the Predators. So I'm interested to see what sort of contract he gets. Does Bork want to go like shorter term and then, try to get a big payday sooner? Does he want to go kind of a longer term contract and maybe not totally maximize what the dollar value is going to be? The contract that he signs is going to be interesting here.
Yeah, to me, it seems like one, and I feel like we're seeing some of this as some of these guys looking at it like, like I don't want to be locked up. What if this cap by 3-4 years into my deal, it's just different in the context of the league because of the cap. So I'm going to take a little bit smaller bite and did another payday, which I feel like also at times can be beneficial for teams. When players have that mindset.
One text says, I got the vibe that McFarland doesn't think the young guys are ready. Kimmel, Ozzy Weisblatt, Schaefer probably start in Milwaukee, maybe trying to find one more D and move Willsby and or Barron with picks for one. We'll see. I mean, I think, their decor here, first off, Barron, I'm sorry, doesn't need to see the ice for the Nashville Predators next year. I know they just qualified him, but Justin Barron doesn't need to be playing games for the Nashville Predators next year. It's just I've seen enough, and I don't frankly need to see any more. Like, it's not very good. So we'll see what happens on that front. But I do understand to the first part of that text, if you're a Preds fan looking at this and coming away thinking, all right, does he just not think any of these young guys are any good right now, or at least not ready enough to play in the NHL? I mean, I would still say let's wait and see, throughout the offseason here, what other forwards get shipped out, and that may clear up the picture a little bit. But it is easy to make that general reaction, I think, right now.
And it wouldn't be the most shocking thing.
No.
Unfortunately.
No. 615-737-1025, our phone number. More of your thoughts to get to on the Preds and NHL free agency. Best and worst things in sports coming up later this hour as well. We will get into Team USA's win last night in the World Cup. All that ahead. Robby and Rexrode, 1025 The Game. Welcome back in, Robby and Rexrode, 1025 The Game, taking your thoughts at 615-737-1025. We'll have the best and worst things in sports coming up at 645. We will take your best things, your worst things on our text line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. NHL free agency day one is in the books. By the way, Joe, some former Preds on the move. You mentioned Cole Smith signing with Chicago. Colton Sissons ends up in Toronto, and Victor Arvidsson with your Detroit Red Wings. How are we feeling about that one?
Let's go. RV Hustle in South Detroit. Gotta love it. Yeah, that's hey, about 8 years too late on that one, but hey, why not? Let's have some fun.
I will say some of the contracts, it's there's a little sticker shock just because the cap's going up, right? So the cap's going up, and the player contracts are going to reflect that. But when I saw 2 years and $5 million per for Arvidsson, I was like, geez, all right, that's fine. But yeah, that's what's the world we're living in with the cap right now. So I guess it makes sense.
It pays to we talk about all these old free agents. Hang on, guys. Hang on in this league for a while. You're going to get paid more than you did when you were actually really good a few years ago.
It's kind of amazing.
Get that money. Yeah.
Hey, but good for him.
Yeah.
The Toronto is interesting, man. First off, I guess, this is the first time in his career that Colton Sissons, has made an unrestricted free agency decision. So good for him. Yeah. But he's now in Toronto. They signed Bobrovsky in goal as well. So Leafs are adding some vets to the group to try to convince old Austin Matthews to hang around in there.
I don't hate it. Good for Colton. What's the deal? What's the Colton deal again?
The Sissons deal. Let me see if I can find that again. And of course, right now, my computer's freezing up. Let's see. Colton Sissons signed a 2-year deal, and I can see if I can find some money on that. But a 2-year deal, and I cannot find the money. It's not even on their official website. So
I'm very disappointed. I'm looking at these rundowns, and that's not at the top of the news list.
That should be so 2-year, $8.5 million contract. So $425 a season for Mr. Colton Sissons.
There you go. Good for you, Colton.
And that money doesn't go as far as it used to in Toronto that it does in Nashville, but still good contract.
True, but in Nashville, he was making $1 million, right?
He wasn't making very much. I think it was 2, but yeah.
What was he 2? Yeah. So there you go. Good for him. And I like the ad for them. I do. The Leafs are interesting for sure. As always, they're always interesting.
Well, and apparently, we mentioned Zach Werenski. He's put out some statement that he wants to stay in Columbus. So I don't know what's going on with all that. The whole thing's weird. So
that's really weird.
Columbus had a trade agreed to with Dallas, and he vetoed it. So I don't know what to make of all that. But apparently he wants to remain with Columbus now.
Yeah, something obviously doesn't add up here. Is it basically the small list of teams he wanted couldn't swing it, so now he's going to be like, I want to stay, everybody? That's
kind of my initial reaction to it, yes.
Are the Columbus fans going to buy that? I guess, we have a great player. It's okay, well, everybody's a mercenary anyway.
Beg him to stay, and please don't go anywhere all season long. We'll see.
Yeah.
See what that looks like.
That's bizarre.
Let's head back to our phone line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Welcome in Steve in Franklin to the program. Steve, good morning. Thank you for calling in.
Hi, good morning, guys. I want to see what you think about the idea of maybe bringing in a backup goaltender that would maybe give you have enough confidence in to play, take some of the load off of Saros, where he doesn't have to play quite as much as instead of just playing the backup, on back-to-backs. Taking a load management thing, because I know they've had this kind of a sink or swim attitude with him the last couple of years, and they've not made the playoffs either year. So I was thinking about maybe bringing Connor Ingram back. He's good enough to start for Edmonton in the playoffs, so I know he was out there yesterday in free agency. Thanks a lot.
Thanks, Steve. Appreciate it. Well, look, I think they're pretty happy with the goalie that they got with Onanen. Look, there's a new general manager, so I don't know exactly how he views the goaltending situation and what's that's going to look like. I think if you're McFarland looking at it, number one, you've got familiarity with Onanen because you were the team that drafted him, so he knows him. But he's also, I think, clearly gotten a lot better since he's gone from Colorado to here. And frankly, again, it's the World Championships in the summer. I don't put a whole lot of stock into it because it doesn't mean a ton when it comes to NHL hockey. But Onanen went from, a really, really good individual part or second half of the season last year, right into a world championship bid where he played really, really well for Team Finland as well. So like in terms of like the way he's trending, he couldn't be trending up much better than he was to end last season. I think you're feeling good about him. I mean, look, Joe, there are some Predators fans that want to see Annunen like starting heading into next year. So we'll see what all that looks like.
Yeah, definitely don't need to. I think the question is, certainly not any other goaltender from outside. It's a question of that workload and just how both those guys are going to play early in the season and what that might mean. I mean, I think keep an open mind. Contracts are contracts, but again, once you get to the season, the guys who are in charge of playing and coaching hockey are just trying to win hockey games. And so I think it's kind of exciting what could be ahead for him.
I think it is too. I am very interested to see among the many things I'm interested to see about like the start of this next season. One thing you can add to that list, Joe, is how well does Saros start and how well does Annunen start, and what does that dynamic look like, kind of while all that's going on? I mean, I have no doubt opening night, like UC Saros is going to be the starting goalie, right? Like he's under contract. Sure. He's going to be the starter. We did just see them at the end of last season ride the hot hand and play Annunen and got to have it games. So there is that's lingering in the background. So like if Saros starts slow and Annunen starts well, that's going to be really interesting to see how they handle that.
And I would expect them, I could be wrong, but I think you already sort of ripped the Band-Aid off at the end of last season. And so to me, it's like, I mean, this happens all the time in sports. Again, this hilarious comparison, okay, that I'm going to make. But, like, look at how much Drew Bledsoe was being paid, and then it's like, yeah, let's go with Brady. Again, I know it's a hilarious comparison, but I'm just saying it happens all the time in sports. Sometimes, the good coaches just react to what they see in front of them, and there are always considerations you have to make. But I think at this point, it's, the Saros start thing, which again he did better last year, I guess, for him individually, but it's a real thing. It's been a real thing through his career, and again, maybe decline is a real thing overall. I don't know. It's a huge year for him, but I don't think there's going to be much hesitation to give more work to Annunen if needed.
Well, and the other part of that is you have a coach and a coaching staff that is well aware if they don't start well, they could be in some serious trouble here.
Right.
So if it becomes clear that Annunen is playing better than Saros is to start the season, I think there's going to be absolutely zero hesitation from the coaching staff because they know what the score is, and they don't, frankly, like they can't afford to just sit around and wait for UC Saros to figure it out in December, right? Like it could be too late for them individually at that point.
That's exactly right. Yeah, it's whatever you can do to win games, and it could be. Yeah, look. It could be it could kind of go back to status quo, and it's clear after a few weeks. Yeah, I mean, Saros is a starting goaltender in this league, and you can see the difference, but it might not. It might not look that way. And so it's a great thing to have Annunen on your roster.
I'm looking at some of the moves made yesterday. I mean, Corey Perry ends up back in L.A. playing for Lavi, so if you're a Predators fan, you don't have to worry about Corey Perry coming in here right now. Although, if Preds are good next year, maybe it's a deadline deal they could make. But Kane's still out there. So my dream of Kane and Perry temporarily playing for the Predators dead as of now, Joe.
Where's he going to? You going to go to Buffalo?
He might. That actually makes a lot of sense for him. Hometown. They're actually good now.
Yeah.
I'd like to see it.
Yeah, it'd be cool. I mean, I wouldn't mind not seeing him play hockey anymore, but I guess if he's going to keep playing, why not that?
He's not going to end up back in Detroit.
We got RV, man.
After they trade Larkin away,
we got RV hustle. Yeah, we're good.
Okay, just checking. Did you not enjoy Patrick Kane's tenure as a Red Wing?
No, I mean, it's one of those things where in the past I had to grip my teeth when we signed Chris Chelios. So like, dude, I hate this guy. Are you kidding me? You made me root for this guy, Chelios. But that was also when he was still good and they were good. Patrick Kane, it was just like, okay. I mean, he produced, he's still a fun player to watch, but it was just weird.
I mean, the highlight of the Red Wings franchise as a whole, like the last 5 years, is his overtime goal in Chicago going back. Like it's like the most memorable game they've played in the last decade.
Yeah, that pretty much says all you need to know.
A regular season game in like February
Against a terrible team, by the way.
Against an awful team.
Yeah.
615-737-1025 is our phone number. The best and worst things in sports coming up next. We'll get into USA's win last night against Bosnia to begin the 7 o'clock hour. Charles Robinson coming up at 8 o'clock for his weekly visit. All that ahead. Robby and Rexrode, 1025 The Game.
The best and worst of the sports week now on Robby and Rexrode
on ESPN
1025 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
This is the worst.
You look like you're feeling sorry for yourself. You don't even know it.
He's one of one. He is him.
This is a Coke bottle. It's not a crystal ball.
When I woke up this morning, I was feeling pretty dangerous.
Okay, let's go.
It is time for the best and worst things in sports. We will take your best things, your worst things on our text line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Joe Rexrode, kick us off with your best and worst things in the world of sports.
Well, gosh, I hate to be obvious. I mean, but I'm just going to say that the best thing in sports is us, we, USMNT. But also, I mean, I'm going to say it again, like I said, like Mauricio Pochettino belting out country roads, man. Oh, my God, that was just amazing last night. But I just love this team. It's so fun. And, you know, I guess I could flip this around on a worst, but we have other worse. Look, an obvious worst is, of course, Chris Johnson. I'm sorry to take everything from you guys, but I also have to say, former Titan scout Blaze Taylor, this horrific story. He's convicted by a Nashville jury here of poisoning his pregnant girlfriend and killing her and their unborn child in 2023. For anybody forgets that story, it is absolutely awful. It's my worst in sports.
Yep, very well said. Ian Safar, your best and worst things in the world of sports.
Yeah, my best little U.S. men's national team combo here. How about Malik Tillman, the free kick?
Yep.
In general.
That was sweet.
That was, to be down a man and to hit that, right, to go up 2-0, put a bow on the game. That was pretty legit. And not to get too political here, but also when it comes to U.S. men's national team, good things, birthright citizenship. How about
That's true.
How about Balogun? Otherwise, he would be ineligible to play for the U.S. If you'd like to do some research on that, just a FYI there. And then the worst, of course, is the red card on Balogun. And for him to be out for the next match, the best striker in U.S. men's national team history. So that'll be my worst.
It's just a horrific red card. Just it irritates me to no end. Best thing in sports. I mean, I would echo the U.S. men's national team. I would add to that the player movement that we're seeing right now in the NBA and the NHL. And we'll get into the NBA part of it a little bit later in the show, but it's pretty awesome. Like the trades that we're seeing. I mean, Jaylen Brown got traded yesterday. Obviously, we've seen Giannis get traded. Like, who knows where LeBron is going to end up? There's all the stuff that's gone down in the NHL. It's been a pretty exciting, and it's not over with, offseason for the NHL and the NBA so far. So from a player movement offseason standpoint, I'm liking what I'm seeing in the NHL and NBA right now, and we'll see where all that ends up. I mean, obviously, Chris Johnson, the worst thing in sports, and Joe touched on that well. I'll throw another one that's way less serious at it, but I did see yesterday or the other day, Joe. So, I was in Cleveland last week, and there was a really cool story because I got to see Cooper Ingle, who I was previously unaware of. But basically, he's making his MLB debut last Friday. And then on Saturday, he hit a pretty big hit in the game to bring in a couple of RBIs. And his parents were in the stands, and they showed him up on the Jumbotron and hugging each other and all that stuff. It was cool. Cool to see. Well, fast forward a few days later. So it's a 2-2 game between the Guardians and I believe – who were they playing? Maybe the White Sox? I don't know who they were playing. But it was 2-2 game. It was the Rangers. That's who it was. Guardians and Rangers. 2-2 game in the 7th inning, and Cooper Ingle's playing in left field. There's a pop fly hit out the left field, a runner on second, and there's one out. Only problem is Cooper Ingle thought there were 2 outs, caught the ball, and then threw it in the stands. Threw the ball in the stands, and the run scored because the rule says if the ball ends up out of bounds, the runner's awarded 2 bases. So it goes from a 2-2 game in the 7th inning to a 3-2 Rangers lead, and the Rangers end up winning 4-2 in the game. So tough one for Cooper Ingle. Throwing the ball in the stands. Look, I understand mistakes happen in baseball. You're in Major League Baseball. You need to know how many outs there are. I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's a not top tenner for sure.
Yeah.
He looked distraught after that. He looked distraught.
He did. He looked very upset.
That's a tough one.
Bad.
Speaking of baseball, which I'll briefly acknowledge, throw another honorable mention. Best for me, the Detroit Tigers completed a nice sweep of the New York Yankees yesterday.
Nice.
Have some of that, PK.
Very, very nice. Let's head back to our phone line. Welcome in Dylan and Antioch to the program. Dylan, good morning. Thank you for calling in.
Hey, good morning, guys. I just got a quick worst thing in sports is the overuse of the VAR reviews for offsides in the World Cup. I got some friends. I'm not a big soccer guy, but the World Cup comes around, and here we all are. But some of these people, the use of the VAR, if you call it on the field, just go with the call on the field. We don't need to be going back and reviewing to see if a guy's pinky toe is offsides to disallow goals. It just screws up the flow of the game. And I don't know if it's an NFL thing or every scoring play is reviewed, but this overuse of VAR, if it's obvious, call it on the field, but we don't need to be disallowing these goals for little petty things like that. So that's all I got, guys. Thanks.
Thank you, Dylan. Appreciate it. I largely agree, Joe. I mean, look, I think offsides and soccer is complicated enough anyway. So sometimes I think, frankly, it's hard to call. So that's where you can make the argument for the VAR thing coming in and helping out the officials there. But it does feel like we're going there a whole lot in these games.
I would say, and look, some soccer people might cringe at this idea, but I kind of like the idea of like the same thing that the NBA has done and now college basketball, which is the challenge thing, like leave it up to human error. And if there's something egregious, something really key, and you have a challenge, then use the challenge. Other than that, them using VAR as much as they are, I think is definitely a good worst for sure. And then of course, I know we're going to talk more about, this and soccer coming up, but a lot of people are saying like that was actually an incorrect use of VAR last night on the red card.
Yes.
So yeah, overall, definitely a good worst is that it's just overused.
Yes, I would totally agree. 615-737-1025. By the way, what did you make of the Jaylen Brown trade to Philadelphia? Their starting five's pretty good.
I mean, I first of all, it's just like, it's just so weird that they traded him to Philly, right?
Yeah.
They traded them to a rival who, to me, is now flat out better than you because they have him. Am I wrong? Like I think the Sixers are flat out better than the Celtics now.
See where LeBron ends up. But yeah,
well,
I agree.
Like I said, that's true. Yeah, there's still more things to come.
Listen, LeBron's not going to Boston.
No, that is something you can pretty much write in pen. But yeah, that one shocked me. I just and I don't know. People are, the guy who everybody has wanted to to be their head coach in college forever, Brad Stevens. People are starting to get mad at that dude.
They are, especially our team that's had a lot, pretty good recent success. By the way, like Jaylen Brown, pretty good recent success with the Celtics. Yeah, it seems to be a lot of anger up there. I hate to see it, Joe, when Boston sports fans don't get their way. Really bothers me.
I know it's tough. They just haven't had much good luck over the years.
Really feel bad for them.
Yeah, really, really, really tough, man. Tough to see.
615-737-1025 is our phone number. We will continue to take your thoughts on the USA's win last night in the round of 32, punching their ticket to the round of 16 in the World Cup. That's coming up next. Robby and Rexrode, 1025 The Game. Hour number 2, Robby and Rexrode, 102.5 The Game. Robbie Stanley, Joe Rexrode, Ian Safar here with you on this Thursday morning, presented by Green Ventures Landscaping for homes and businesses that want to stand out, not blend in. Visit greenventureslandscaping.com. Live from our Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning Game Nashville studios, home of the $99 yearly Beehive membership, where the buzz is always about great service. Charles Robinson will be with us at 8 o'clock. We will get into all things NFL with him, so looking forward to that coming up in 1 hour for his weekly visit. Taking your thoughts in the meantime, 615-737-1025. USA wins last night, 2-0, the final against Bosnia-Herzegovina. They'll take on Belgium coming up. We'll get into that here in just a few minutes. But a very good win last night for USA. We've discussed the red card with Balogun, and we'll get back into that here in just a few minutes too. But, Joe, I'm reading kind of through some of the reaction of this, and there's been something throughout this that's kind of stood out to me too. And Stuart James of The Athletic, I think, does a really good job here of kind of putting it into context, because what he does is, like, he's going through, all the guys that are playing really well and contributing here. And, obviously Balogun, we've talked about, there's Alex Freeman, there's Robinson, there's Tyler Adams, Malik Tillman, who Ian brought up. And I want to get to the last part of this here because I think it's telling. This is from Stuart James from The Athletic. Quote, "Perhaps it says everything that it's taken so long to mention Pulisic, the poster boy of U.S. soccer. That's not to overlook his ability to influence matches. The U.S. is unquestionably a better team with Pulisic on the pitch. But the reality is that it's exactly that, a team, and a damn good one too." End quote. This is from Stuart James from The Athletic. And that, to me, I think has been as eye-opening as everything. Is like, obviously Pulisic is great. Like, we all understand that. And he has been I think he describes it, the poster boy of U.S. soccer. They got a lot of guys that are contributing, playing really well right now. And it just feels like a very good team that the U.S. has put together.
No, it's easily the best to me. Every time I talk about this, I just have to, I am a soccer novice compared to people who are really into sport. And so I know this is like everybody's saying it, so it's easy to say it, but like I have watched, U.S. soccer play in this tournament going way, way back. And I've never had the feeling like, damn, like we're right up there with these two. We got like dudes. And also I just think the coach is great. It just, they to me, they just rarely seem, I know they got a little bit sort of out of sorts in that loss. Well, again, when they had their roster turned over as much as it was, but for the most part, they just seem like they have a poise about them and an organization about them. Last night, that's the type of game where you could get a little frustrated, impatient, whatever. The pressure builds as time goes on. But I just felt like they just seem to be in control the whole time, And then, of course, they respond to losing Balogun and like Ian said, you get the free kick goal, and it's like, you kind of know at that point. But just they hung in there really nicely. Yeah, it seems like he has the coach Pochettino just has a really he's obviously a great coach. He's demonstrated that before, but he just seems to have a really good thing with these players too, and they've got a great chemistry. It appears that stuff all matters. It matters in any sport at any level, and so it's just a lot of fun. And yeah, that's a great point on Pulisic. Now I do think he's probably, you tell me, and I just feel like that's the guy. I know it's probably going to be Weah coming in, right? But like Pulisic has to make a difference, right? Yeah, he's got to do something that helps make up the difference of not having Balogun, right?
Yes, for sure. And then I think when you're talking about this next match, first off, I don't know if you guys saw the Belgium-Senegal game yesterday.
It's crazy.
What a comeback by Belgium. So there's got to be some sort of emotional high that they're running off of now to come back and advance after being down in that game. But it's still, to me, like, that's what makes the red card so infuriating, is because it's just so punitive. Like, you get shown the red card and then you're out for the next match. So if you're USA, you got to find some way to overcome that. Yeah, I mean, Pulisic is going to have to be the one that I think really steps to the forefold or the front there. But I look at the matchup still, and it's not like they can't win, right? Like, it's not like this is some impenetrable wall that they're running up against with Belgium, even with Balogun out now. So, I mean, I wondered heading into the match last night with all the pressure around it, right? With going into a win or go home situation, how would they respond to it? And they responded really well. So frankly, like even with the red card, even though it makes me really mad the way that was handled last night, I feel really good about this overall team, watching them handle the pressure the way that they did last night. I thought it was really, really good.
Yeah, you just have to be really impressed. And again, they're just really fun to watch. But again, that's the Balogun in particular. He's just a ridiculous talent, and so it's, what does that mean as you advance here? And also, if you do advance, I mean, I think it's fine, but you do lose. So now you change the lineup. Now you change it back. I mean, I think ultimately, if you just have him in the lineup, you are just flat out immediately better for it. But it's just a big deal. I've seen some points being made. Can we get like a Seattle judge to, can we get an injunction? Can we get
injunction?
Temporary injunction here to get him to play? But it is also, I mean, I was hopeful that there was some sort of like appeals process, because I think that they do at times look at red cards. I guess a lot of times they look at red cards to elevate them.
Yeah.
And then sometimes you have like the mistaken identity, but apparently there's just no way he's just going to sit this next game, which sucks.
Now, he's got to be just aching inside. I mean, you could see it on his face last night. I mean, he's sitting there screaming at the ref, which I don't blame him. But he's got to be feeling awful right now going into this next round and him not being able to be a part of it.
Yeah, and again, I understand the still shot. It looks terrible, and you slow it down. And, look, you could talk yourself into, if you want, that he was trying to do it on purpose. Again, I've been told maybe it doesn't matter. But in my brain, to me, the red card should be reserved for clearly intentional dirty stuff, right? And I don't see how you could make that judgment, especially you watch that play. I mean, this is like with anything in sports. You slow something down and it looks so different.
Yeah.
As opposed to just watch the play in real time. Well, it's like we talked yesterday about like the Caitlin Clark thing with Alyssa Thomas. Like you watch it in real time and it looks like nothing. Then you slow it down and isolate it, just put oh my God, tried to murder her, And it's I think that with this, it's a similar thing. It's like in real time, they're just scrapping for the ball and things like that happen. That's what it seemed like to me. And people are also, Messi had a similar play, and that people are putting the side by side, and it's like, well, Messi got a yellow for his. It just seems, and I see some people out there that are like, you people don't know anything about soccer. I think they're mostly, I see some English soccer fans who are, making fun of Americans for that. But I don't know. It seems like most of the opinion, even if it's not like biased American opinion, is that was an overreach.
I will not be listening to any English soccer fan opinions this week. I will not.
When you're off social media. So again, another bonus for you for not.
It's off social media, but it's, we're celebrating our 250th birthday as a country coming up this week, and I will not be listening to any of the English soccer fans when it comes to all that. And I would also just ask our listeners, don't be eating any Belgian waffles over the next few days either. Let's unite together against Belgium coming up.
Or do we eat all the Belgian waffles? It's one or the other. Do we clean them? Clean them out. I might be better for that quest.
That is a good question.
Let's make it so no one can get a Belgian waffle.
What would be more effective? Yeah. Not eating them at all, or eating all of them.
They got good.
When's the last time you had a Belgian waffle?
I don't know. I mean, I've definitely had them. Like I've been at places. There's this place in Miami. I forget what it's called, but it was like got chicken and waffles there, and it was like Belgian waffles with like Vermont cheddar, and then it was ridiculous. But I've never been to Belgium. I've had some. I mean, Belgium has some great beers too. That's we talk about the waffles, but I'm avoiding the beers. So
waffles should be gout friendly, right?
Not when you put syrup on them, which I do. They're probably fine plain.
Yeah, someone says, eat all the Belgian waffles, establish dominance. Just get in there. Like, you guys are going to get nothing. They'd
Exactly.
like
Yeah. No one else will have these Belgian waffles.
Let the record show. I have nothing against the people of Belgium. Just for the next few days, I do. You know, it's temporary, you know. It's all in good fun. It's what the World Cup's all about. You know?
What do you guys speak French? Why don't you
What are we
speak
doing?
Belgian, huh? What's the Belgian language?
Come on.
I've got a texter who says Americans always trying to avoid punishment. LOL. Get Sorsby's lawyer. It's not like he killed someone. LOL. Okay. Are you an English texter shaming us? I mean, at least we have air conditioning in this on this continent.
Ed says the U.S. needs Scott Foster in the next match. Yeah, let's go get Scott Foster and start reffing again. That'd be good.
Get Tim Donaghy.
Yeah, good stuff. 615-737-1025, our phone number. More your reaction to the USA winning and advancing to the round of 16 in the World Cup. More coming up next. Robby and Rexrode, 1025 The Game.
For me, never is a red card. Watching after on TV, and never was the intention to step up of the player. That was a normal action in football that happened because by accident, and it's never intentional. That is why for me, it's never red card.
That was our coach last night, Joe Pochettino, talking about the red card. Our coach, our guy, Mauricio Pochettino, my guy out there, coach of the year.
Absolutely. Also, take me home to country roads. Belting it out. Love that dude.
Oh, man. One texter says red card should be like getting ejected in college football where you're done for the rest of that game and half of the next game, not a full game.
Well, that's, of course, that's what we're sitting there last night. And that's what Katie's like, no, it just means he's out for the that rest of the next game. I'm like, I think that's college football. And then Brennan calls and he's like, no, he's not out for the next game. And I'm searching up and we're sitting there at this bar and people are yelling. I'm like, no, guys, he's out. Like, he's done for the next game. It's like so heartbreaking when you actually come to that realization. But yeah, it's just, I don't know. It's so punitive. And to me, that just should be reserved for clear, like a clear intentional elbow that knocks someone out or whatever. Like, that play is just, how could you possibly determine intent? And again, this is where people say it doesn't have to be, but then to me, that's just stupid. It's just a stupid rule.
I would agree. And if it doesn't have to, if you're not having to determine intent, to me, that's where the punitive part of it comes in. Okay, if it's a red card and you determine there's no intent behind it, well, then be out for the rest of that game, whatever. Don't be suspended for the next one. That's where I think the common sense part of this has to take over at some point. Yes, I'm biased in this discussion, but I feel like that's pretty common sense.
Yeah, no, it is. Trevor says they, but you mean we, Trevor. We did play Belgium in a friendly 4 months ago, lost 5-2, but about 6 different players in the lineup and not playing like that. Yeah. Again, going into last night, we hadn't beaten like a European team in 5 years. Hadn't won a World Cup knockout game since 2002. This team is just different.
So let me ask you this. We'll see what happens moving forward here. But does last night's game, PK was with us yesterday, and one thing he talked about being nervous about was, if they lose the game, does it just basically invalidate everything? Well, now that they've won in the round of 32 and moved on to the round of 16, has this World Cup, experience, this team, the success of it, success or failure of it, has it been validated with the win last night, moving on to the round of 16? I hate to even talk about this because I want more now, but has it been validated?
I think so. I think just the way this team is playing, again, another milestone is that we have never won 3 games in a World Cup. So I think so. It's just that it's like either you really, like, there's just no question anymore if you beat Belgium, because you've gotten to the round of 8 and you did it without your best player, or you lose this game. And unfortunately, I think yes to your question, but it will be overshadowed by just pure anger of getting screwed. Like, it'll be like that will be the prevailing. I just would hate for that to be the case. And look, I get it. FIFA is very plainly a corrupt organization, and so people, it's like you get into they just hate America, whatever. They're trying, screwing us on our homeland. I mean, it was a
that
bad
ref must hate
by
America for sure.
I agree.
Yeah, but I mean, so that you would hate for that to become the bigger storyline, which is basically what's guaranteed if we lose this game. So we got to win this game. I
need the 12th man up there in Seattle. We got to get the home field cooking. I thought it was great in Santa Clara last night. So it's good stuff. The electromagnetic pulses didn't really seem to matter from the substation.
Yeah. Well, I think that Seattle is, and maybe I just am thinking this because we know what they've been for like the Seahawks, but I feel like games played in Seattle have been like the wildest crowd scenes. So you got to like that too. But yeah, You're absolutely, to me, yes. This team is already, you can put this team down. It's the best team that we've had, and it's the most excitement. And I think you've got this huge, again, I went to a place last night to check it out, and it was, just on a random weeknight. I absolutely could not find a spot in not, this isn't like some soccer bar or something like that, like people are really into this. And so I've seen a headline, welcome to the biggest week in U.S. soccer history. I mean, that's where we are.
Well, and the timing of all of it works out great because, I mean, there's really nothing else going on, right? I mean, free agency, but you're not talking about anything on the field or anything, of any games being played. I mean, if you're a diehard Major League Baseball fan, then you're in the thick of that right now, but there's nothing else really going on. And I just think the sports calendar, but also I do think it's important for the casual soccer fans who really have not gotten behind it fully yet. They don't watch a whole lot of soccer other than the World Cup. Having a team that's exciting to watch is important. Yes, winning is the most important thing. And I think people would be watching if they're winning regardless because people love to watch winners. But having a team that's, exciting and an ability where, at any moment they could break through, especially with Balogun on the pitch, they could break through and score. I think that's a really big thing. Like so far, we'll see how it ends up finishing out here. But so far, like if you're somebody who really cares about soccer in this country and you're interested in seeing like the game grow and the game expand and new fans added to it, it couldn't have gone a ton better than it's gone so far for you.
No question. No question. But that's another, a shame of like, as the audience builds, and here we are on the 4th of July sort of holiday time period, and you won't get to watch this guy who is just, he's just all over the place. He's so dangerous. He's so skilled, and we're not going to get to watch him this next game, which sucks. I mean, like we've talked about France and Mbappe, obviously, and how they look on the attack. It's just unbelievable. And, Spain's guy and some of these, Harry Kane yesterday with a ridiculous goal, and obviously what Messi's doing. This looks like one of those guys. I mean, and that's what's, I just really hope we get to see him play again. I mean, that's the thing about this too, is like, worldwide, obviously this is the biggest event. And of course, in Europe, they have champions, they have Premier League, they have their leagues, but every 4 years, this is like the Super Bowl, but every 4 years, And so you think about just not being able to watch this team for 4 years. I mean, there's so much at stake with this. By the way, speaking of Harry Kane, Mexico, England. I think that's Sunday. Man,
it could be electric.
That's a banger. That's a
be
banger.
Electric. So are we rooting for Austria and Croatia today? Or are we wanting, Joe, the showdown with Spain? How are we feeling about this?
Oh no, I'll take any way to get no. Give me all the upsets. Clear that bracket, baby.
Big Austria fan today as they take on Spain, and I'm pulling for Croatia against Portugal. Just take them all down.
Absolutely. Let's have total chaos in this thing. And meanwhile, we'll take aim at the Belgians. Ed does say, do whatever you want, but stay clear of the Belgium Trappist monks who make Chimay, the greatest beer. That is a great beer. I just went down the rabbit hole of Belgian beers. That's a great beer. I mean, these like the Belgian farmhouse ale. Oh my God, they're so good. Devel's a great beer.
Hey, you're not cooperating here. We're not supposed to be complimenting the Belgians heading into Monday's match. What are we doing?
Saison Dupont. Well, yeah, that's true. I mean, look, this is like old school, taking over the planet. I want to beat you, and I'm going to drink all your beer and eat all your waffles. How about that? I'm drinking all the Saison Dupont.
I mean, it really kind of is an elite combo when you're talking about like you even Google it. You're like, what are Belgian people known for? And the first two things that come up are waffles and beer. It's like, all right, there you go. Good to know.
Chocolate's pretty
Chocolate's in
good
there too,
baby.
Yeah. Chocolate's in there.
A lot of people are asking about the gout.
Now, that's the thing. I can't drink all their beer. But I don't want to like smash it. I want someone to enjoy it. Let's pass it out to Team USA after beating Belgium.
Is there good Belgian wine that you could participate in after we win on Monday?
That's interesting. I don't know. Obviously, French wine is great.
I'm not familiar with the Belgian wine scene.
I'm not up on the Belgian wine scene either. I mean, I'm sure they have some kind of wine, but I'll probably just get the French stuff. Sorry, you guys speak French and drink the French wine.
615-737-1025. Our phone number 615-737-1025. We will get into a wild couple of days in the NBA. A little bit more information potentially on where LeBron James could end up. There's a huge trade in the NBA yesterday. We'll get into all of it. Robby and Rexrode, 1025 The Game. Today, the Nashville Sounds taking on the Jacksonville Jumbo Shrimp at First Horizon Park. First pitch at 6:35. You can catch all the action on 94.9 The Fan. Presented by Twin Peaks, Family Leisure, Maple Street Biscuit Company, Mad Fireworks, and Social Cantina. Taking your thoughts at 615-737-1025. Joe, I've discovered another thing that I don't want Americans doing over the next few days here. Don't be watching any movies with Jean-Claude Van Damme in it. We're doing it. Most famous Belgian actor of all time, apparently.
I had no idea. I had no idea he was Belgian. Okay.
That's what the internet says.
I'll give you one exception, okay, which is the movie Breakin', which is actually like you need to find the scene. There's like a scene in Breakin'. Have you seen Breakin'?
No.
I
have not.
I mean, I saw that at the theater like 5 times when I was like in 5th grade. But there's the scene where they're like dancing and, they're like working on the break dancing a little bit, and then there's like a bunch of like dancers on the beach. And one of them is Jean-Claude Van Damme. It's freaking amazing.
His nickname is the Muscles from Brussels, which is objectively awesome.
Okay. Interesting. I also found out that, I was just saying, they speak French. That's actually the south of Belgium. There's a little more than half the country speaks Dutch, the north part. So they speak Dutch and French, little German. And I don't think the Belgian wine scene is all that special.
Well, good to know.
So you go to France if you want the wine and the cheese. Okay.
All right. Well, you might need to go to France if you want the really good soccer too. Have some of that Belgian.
Yeah, that is true. France is Maybe we'll find out. Maybe we'll find out in the Meadowlands on July 19th.
Hope so. Hoping so. Joe, a busy day in the NBA yesterday too. Still no word on where LeBron is going to end up and play. But people continue to speculate, maybe the Miami Heat. I think Le Batard said, hey, this Miami thing could be real with LeBron. So we'll see what happens on that front. You've got the Cavs obviously still floating out there. The Warriors, which the more I look at it, the more everybody seems to think that's where he's going to end up, is Golden State. So we'll see what happens on that front. But in the aftermath of LeBron James leaving the Lakers, Joe, the Lakers traded for Walker Kessler for a unprotected first-round picks in 2031 and 2033 and first-round swaps in 2028 and 2030. So big moves there in the NBA. And now the big three in LA is obviously Walker Kessler, who they just added, Luka Doncic, and Alex Reeves as well. What do you make of that? What does that do for the Lakers?
Well, who gets credit for the Snow Time Lakers?
I saw it as a comment on Facebook.
Wow.
It was Facebook hilarious. Yeah.
Facebook, good job. I also saw, I don't pay a lot of attention to, Stephen A. Smith, like for the most part, it's like, oh my God, every time I see something, there's like a headline like Stephen A. Smith, and it's like whatever his take is, and it's pretty dumb. I'm like, oh God. But I will say, like it was like Stephen A. Smith quote, "This isn't golf," which is pretty funny. But
Scheffler going to be on the wing for the Lakers next year. Shoot some corner threes.
Oh God. But I mean, look, Kessler he's good. Like they're going to be good. I'm actually angry because Norman Powell, who I thought the Pistons were going to get, signs with the freaking Bulls.
Yeah,
that's not going well. Another big one is Mitchell Robinson, Knicks legend, joining the Celtics at 3 years, 47. I mean, that's a not insignificant deal. And then speaking of the Pistons, we lose Tobias. He goes to the Spurs. So, we talked about the Spurs and LeBron, and like they could use kind of, like a 4, like a undersized 4, stretch 4, can shoot. Well, they went with Tobias Harris, and he and LeBron James are certainly not the same player, but that's basically the hole they filled with him. So I think you can take them out of the LeBron conversation if they were ever really in it.
We got a text that says LeBron's going to Memphis. Maybe it was all the video he made while he's playing golf of how much he hates Memphis. Maybe it was all a ploy, some misdirection for LeBron. He's always wanted to be a Grizzly, and now he's got his chance.
He's always wanted. Yeah, he's always wanted. He's a huge advocate of the NBA being in Memphis, and he'll
he's going to come there. He's going to build new hotels. He's going to have maybe upgrade some of that around there to get up to his standard, whatever that is.
Sure,
but yeah,
golf courses.
I think not overly familiar with the golf scene in Memphis, but you can find some good courses out there. I mean, like it could be a good spot for LeBron.
I don't know why we haven't thought of this before. Optimistic Joe and others are saying Breaking 2 Electric Boogaloo. That is the sequel, but by then I think Jean-Claude was like doing martial arts on the screen. He had to start with an excellent little. I'm gonna find this clip and send it to you. It's really special.
Jean-Claude's only 65 years old. I would have thought he'd been a lot older than that, but only 65.
It kind of makes me feel better, actually.
That's good.
It's not bad.
It is pretty good. So how good is Paul George going to be on the Celtics?
Yeah, it's like I just can't trust. And it's just like if whatever, like if the Warriors get AD, I mean, it's just hard to trust.
He's 36.
Yeah, it's just like like the Kawhi thing to the Raptors. It's again, I'm just like I can't get excited about it. I can't feel confident in someone staying healthy. I mean, if they do happen to get a good version, like he's still good. The Celtics, that is, if they can get a good version of him, and of course they got the 2 first, but the first are 28 and 31. It's just such a weird move to me. I mean, I understand they were in a bind, but it's like I mean, you are in your window, right?
You would think,
and it's just like it's almost like you're sort of we got one and we're gonna punt a little bit. I don't know, but yeah, I don't have a lot of optimism, but I do have optimism for what Jaylen Brown is going to be with the Sixers in that lineup.
I will say I saw some clips yesterday of Shams Charania on TV, and he's got like all these phones going off at the same time. It's like maybe let him get off the TV broadcast for like 5 minutes, maybe come back. When he can't speak because he's got like all these phones, and people are just looking at him like, "Hey, you're on live TV." He's got like all these phones going off at the same time. Probably just step away for a second.
And why he had more than one phone going on?
He just had, I think, 2 at one point.
That's still crazy though, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, I would assume like if you're Schefter, you got to have a lot of phones, right? Like you got to be working all these people at the same time.
I mean, I wouldn't
burner phone.
I hope not. Like this, I mean, is that like he splits it up Western Conference, Eastern Conference? I would be forever confused if I had to do it. I mean, I know you're doing a lot, but a lot of it's texting, right? So just hammer those texts out and take them as they come. I hadn't even thought about multiple phones as a thing there. God.
iPad. Just keep going.
The iPad in there. Yeah. Get your walkie-talkie, for a couple GMs.
Yeah. So, are you feeling in the aftermath of this better or worse about LeBron ending up on your team?
I'm kind of in the camp of Warriors or Cavs. Again the whatever Draymond doing what he did. Draymond and LeBron are actually pretty close, and obviously LeBron and Steph are too. So it does seem it's just like if I'm LeBron, I would have to look at that and say it would be fun. It'd be a big story. It'd be a lot of fun playing with those guys. I'd love to play with Steph, all that stuff. But what is your ceiling? What is your ceiling with that team? Whereas I think with Cleveland, although I mean personally, I would hate the idea of playing with James Harden.
Same.
Any player should hate the idea of playing. It's like, I'm going to stand here for 23 seconds. I'll go try to rebound to your shot after you shoot up a step back 26-footer. I do think that team you could make a case that team, a little younger, more athletic, and a little bit better, especially being in the East. Pretty shocking, I think, at this point.
I need to go play for like Charlotte, Somebody just totally off the wall. Charlotte, go down to New Orleans.
Wizards.
Enjoy something. Yeah, go to Washington.
Wizards,
somebody off the
Wizards
wall.
Might be good. Yeah. Kings. How about the Kings?
Yeah, I forget they exist too. Yeah, maybe Sacramento.
That's only a few miles up the road from Golden State. Go up there and play with Sabonis and those guys. Yeah. I don't know. And when is he going to make this decision?
I don't know. I mean, I would have to think it's pretty soon, right? Because depending on, where he goes, I'm sure there's some other tinkering with the roster that's going to have to take place depending on where it is.
Yeah. No, it's gonna be fascinating. You got to credit to him. I've already said he's the GOAT, but like there's also like I don't think there's anyone who's ever like dominated off-season discourse, as many off-seasons discourse as he has in any sport.
Probably not.
Right?
Now, some people would hold that against him and say, why don't you just stay on a team? But probably not.
Like I will say in the summer of 2010, right? I will say that I went from being a big LeBron fan to like not liking him because of that stupid decision. And some of it was just the shirt he wore, but just the whole like, canned interview with Jim Gray and the way he went about it and everything. Like I think that was a huge miscalculation on his part in terms of like how the general. But I think that lost him a lot of fans.
I mean, that was that was one of the most exciting days of my sports fandom.
Yeah, right. Yeah, sure.
That was on the People Mover at Disney World when I found that out. I was like, wow, LeBron's joining my boy Dwayne Wade and Chris Bosh in Miami. It's going to be awesome. And it was.
Yeah. They ended up, but like, so I was like hardcore rooting against those Heat teams just because.
Oh, I think a lot of people were. I think a lot of people did not like that.
Yeah. But they ended up winning, man. So maybe it's time for another super team. It's like the Cocoon 3, the Golden State Warriors of 2026, 27. LeBron played by Wilford Brimley.
Yeah, it's good stuff. 615-737-1025. Rex Rant with Joe Rexrode is coming up next. Charles Robinson with us at 8 o'clock. All that ahead. Robby and Rexrode, 1025 The Game.
Sometimes he wakes up on the wrong side of the bed. And sometimes he's just, well, Joe.
Awkward moment. Let's do it.
This is the Rex Rant. Now on Robby and Rexrode.
Poop on your shoe and move on.
I did not go number 2 during this.
I'm going to egg every house on that block.
Rexrode finally gets something done.
I'm the one who can't hear Shaq talk on the television.
Bag up, Terry. Put it in reverse, Terry.
Put him in reverse.
Put it in reverse. Oh, Lord, please.
I got about 80 eggs in my fridge right now.
He's complaining, and enabling.
I think the only way to stop it is with revenge.
It is time for the Rex Rant, brought to you by Rapid Response Generators. Power when it matters most, and served by the Wine Cellar in Hendersonville. Joe, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much. I mean, it's like it really is. Let's give a tip of the cap to PK. You know, and of course you say things in a very kind way, but like I said to him, like if Robby says, "Wow, there's an all-timer from PK," like he seriously had the take that Shaq, mumbles and talks too low on TV. So,
well, I don't know what you expect from him. Could have had a better take if you got him a big gulp,
Yeah. Well, we'll see. We'll get it. We'll get it done at some point. I gotta remember that for next time. I'm going to bring like 5 big gulps in and just like surround him, pour some on his head.
Be awesome.
Let me talk about this is a good source of rants for me. Let me talk about another Dave Matthews Band show for you. And by the way, just so you know, yes, Katie made friends. The nice women in front of us, they're from Wisconsin. We've learned all about their lives. Nice woman behind us, she asked me to move out of the way. I did. The guys behind us, one of them, like 23-year-old first Dave show. So like great song coming. Katie, everyone's want to turn around. What do you think? Huh? We made friends just like we always do. So, hey, I mean, social butterflies are social butterflies. But I'm here to talk about SeatGeek. I'm going to name names today. I will never use it again. I advise you to never use it. And I'll tell you why. We did what we always do or what I always do. I'm a little bit of a, riverboat gambler on the tickets, but typically if you wait until the day of a show, unless it's and I learned the hard way with U2 at Sphere. Sorry, Preds, that you missed it. It was a great show. I learned the hard way with that one because the demand exceeded the supply, and so they went up on the day of the show, and I was like, oh, my God, what have I done? But for the most part, a concert venue, if you can wait till the day of and get close to the time of the show, you're going to get a cheaper ticket. And so that's what we did. Got to the hotel. The show starts at 7:30, and these are old guys, so they pretty much start on time or pretty close to it. Plus, we had rain. Well, about 5:45 or so, I finally found some good, really great price. Had to get in the pavilion because it was raining. And so we're all set. Okay, good. So what you do if you don't know this, you do on these third-party ticket apps, you do it. It's like, okay, confirmed. Now we're waiting for the seller, to actually send you the tickets. Okay, fine. So let's go get an Uber. We get an Uber. We get there. It's about a half hour later. Well, still no tickets. Wow. Really? Half hour? No tickets? I mean, usually it's about 10 minutes. Okay. All right. Well, half hour, no tickets. This sucks. Now we can't go in the venue. We're here. We can just walk around a little bit. Okay. So we walk around a little bit, a few more minutes. Nope. Still no tickets. Okay. I'm starting to get a little bit, long fuse. Get a little, okay. This is kind of alarming. Okay, now we get to an hour. Can't go in. Can't go get a non-beer beverage. Can't go get a big soft pretzel. Can't get in line so Katie can buy a poster or a T-shirt. Just hanging out outside. Okay, an hour. Are you serious? Well, here we go. Let's get in the contact. Okay, I need to talk to somebody. What the hell is happening here? I bought these tickets, paid a not tiny amount of money for these tickets, and I don't have them yet. Okay, here, how about a live chat with an agent? Okay, fine. Live chat with an agent on the app. Agent, the agent, I say my thing, the agent responds, it may take some time to get your tickets before the day of the event. So I respond in all caps. It is the day of the event, and it starts in less than an hour. Back and forth, agent, blah, blah, blah. Like, real person. Give me a real person. Meanwhile, I'm like, Katie, search the internet. Like they have to have a number. There has to be an actual person who speaks to people, right? Like this is not a small little mom and pop. This is SeatGeek, StubHub, SeatGeek, like you have to have people manning the phones. I have called before. A different one. I forget. I think it was StubHub. Yeah, there's somebody answer. Oh, okay. Let's see what's going on here with the seller. Okay. No number. You cannot find a number. There's like numbers up. There's some stuff out there. There's fake numbers. Okay. Representative, over and over again. Finally, it's like, okay, here, finally, I get a number in this chat. But I mean, it seriously takes it's like, solving the riddles in Indiana Jones, in The Last Crusade. Okay. So finally, I get a number. Oh, God. Okay. So I click it, call the number. We have the line delay, blah, blah, blah. We can call you back. Fine. I pushed for the call back. Okay, well, guess what? We're about, 40 minutes from the show now. I mean, I'm in freak out mode. Katie's like, please calm down. Please calm down. Long fuse. Please calm down. So no one ever calls back. 10 minutes, 15 minutes, no call back. I see that I give an email from this supposed live person. Would you like to live chat about this? How about you go fart yourself? And it was seriously like it was about to be like an embarrassing public scene, and then the tickets finally pop into the email, and I'm just like, dude, never, ever, ever again. If you are going to, and look, things happen when you do this. You are at the mercy of the seller. You would hope if you're selling tickets on these that you would be responsible enough to know that they just bought tickets to a show that's about to start, and you send it to them. Well, that sucks, but you're at that mercy. But my God, you cannot have a business like this and not have people on the phones who can answer questions and actually say, hey, I'm a human. You're a human. Let me go see what's going on with this other human who has the tickets. If you can't afford to pay for that, to have people to man your phones, you don't deserve to have your business. I will never use your sorry ass again.
I'm a little worried about you. Just a lot of stress building up over there, You know what would help some of that? You could just buy the tickets. Maybe a couple days before the event.
But
it'd save you a lot of stress there.
I know, man. But if I went through all of if I added it up, and it's a ridiculous amount of shows. If I added it up, the savings of waiting till day of, it's pretty significant, man. I hear you.
I'm sure it is.
I hear you. You're right. Most people I know are like, you don't have tickets yet? Nah, I'm waiting until an hour before the show. No way, man. And people are like, okay. And this is the downside. But seriously, you can't have this business and not have people who can be reached on the phone, right?
They all use AI now.
Crazy?
They all use AI now. Aren't we seeing all these really rich corporations trying to cut costs at all situations and replacing people with AI anywhere possible?
Yeah,
I will say some not nice things to AI when I'm in conversations with them too.
Well,
just full send.
So we can't use SeatGeek, and now StubHub is constantly getting sued for all this ridiculous stuff that's going on with the World Cup tickets and people not getting their stuff. So now we can't use StubHub, and now we can't use SeatGeek. What are we supposed to do?
That's a great point.
Good question.
Everybody
knows dealing with Ticketmaster is great. That's fun.
I will say, it's, in all seriousness, they are in the rotation because they do have Ticketmaster resale. It's usually a little bit more expensive, but at least it's the tickets are here. You're not gonna.
We've got them.
You will get them. But yeah, no, it really this is an area where again, you are making money hand over fist, and you can't pay some humans to do something. Oh.
Josh says, there's no way those savings add up to the ER visit when you struck out, Joe.
This is a fair point. This is something to also consider in the math equation.
615-737-1025 is our phone number. Charles Robinson will be with us coming up next. Robby and Rexrode, 1025 The Game. Final hour, Robby and Rexrode, 102.5 The Game. Robbie Stanley, Joe Rexrode, Ian Safar here with you on this Thursday morning. And we head to our phone line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com, and welcome in our good friend Charles Robinson to the program. Charles, good morning. How are you?
Doing well, gents. I enjoyed Joe's Cocoon 3 reference for LeBron and Steph and AD. You don't want to see that, Joe? You don't want to see those guys in one more hurrah for the Golden State Warriors?
No, I'm here for it. I'm not optimistic that it will have the desired outcome given who else is in that conference. But no, I'm absolutely here for it. But yes, it will remind me of Don Amici and Wilford Brimley breakdancing in the Cocoon scene there. We've talked a lot about breakdancing today on the program.
We have.
I never realized there was a Cocoon 2. I actually looked it up. I was like, is he right?
Yeah.
It's actually a Cocoon 2.
Was Steve I forget, was Steve Gutenberg also in that one? Superstar Steve Gutenberg? I hope so.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to watch it now and see what storyline they ran it back with, because it seemed pretty definitive when they all left Cocoon 1. So
maybe it was like their adventures in space. I don't know. What's that?
Which I'm curious if LeBron is Wilford Brimley. Which Wilford Brimley is he? Is he the one who wants to talk to you about diabetes, or is he the stone cold killer in the firm? I want to know which Brimley we get.
That's a good point. Also, seriously, Wilford Brimley in Cocoon is the same age at that time as LeBron is now. That's also something to consider. He's like 40 something.
Charles, are you enjoying Team USA's run here in the World Cup? Are you a big soccer fan? How are we feeling about all of it?
I'm enjoying the World Cup, that's for sure. I definitely I felt like it's been really exciting, and watching yesterday was to have 2 goals disallowed, which I thought was kind of a crock, even though it was there's legitimacy to it. The red card, again, a crock, but I'm excited. Belgium gives you an excuse to, as you said, the waffles and beer, break it out. And that'll be great. Let's talk about diabetes.
Let's do it. Let's get after it there. So, Charles, I do want to get your thoughts on just some awful news that we've been talking about around here locally this week with Chris Johnson and his diagnosis with ALS. As somebody who watched, every snap that he played for the Titans, seeing him, limited the way he is now was just jarring to see earlier this week. And I just am curious for your thoughts on Chris Johnson, the player that he was, especially with the Titans, the battle that he now faces with ALS, and kind of the reignited conversation of player safety in the NFL and, potential ties to playing football and ALS and what this all means.
Yeah, it's, as you said, just completely devastating. I had a few interactions with him over my time covering the NFL, and he was always a pleasure to talk to. And, as you said, the focus it puts on ALS, I think, what's the statistic that NFL players are 4 times more likely to develop ALS than, the average everyday person, which is, that's pretty shocking. And, given how much we look at brain health and CTE and, just the general rigors that players are put through, I think all this does is, add a stronger spotlight on it. It's not certainly what the outcome looks like, for Chris Johnson long term. I think you look at Steve Gleason, obviously this, longtime Saints player, beloved Saints player, was diagnosed with ALS in 2011 and, remains very active and very much present in the fight against ALS. And, so that's certainly something that you would hope is in the future for Chris Johnson. I think about him as a player. Obviously we know, one thing that resonates with me is I remember when, he entered the draft, and I remember the run up to it. There was a lot of question about a running back, a sub 200-pound running back, who, Chris Johnson, 5'10", 5'11". So, it's not like he was a 5'8", 195-pound running back, right? A little, maybe smaller, more compact. He had some height to him. That was a longer, leaner player. And I remember there was, somewhat of a conversation about, you know, can a player like this, even with his speed, the insane 4.2 40-yard speed that he had, you know, can he be a dynamic, explosive centerpiece back, you know, for a long period of time for an NFL team? And obviously, you know, you look at his 6 years with the Titans, he was absolutely that. His second season, the 2009 season, was unbelievable. I mean, he was just the epitome of a player when you watched him, was moving differently than everybody else on the field. In a way, you know, like it reminds me of like Jahmyr Gibbs. When you see Jahmyr Gibbs just explode, you're like, that guy he has something else that pretty much everybody else that's on the field with him right now does not have. And Chris Johnson, you know, certainly had that. You know, I think it's from a football perspective and from what he was able to accomplish as a player, certainly showcases to the NFL that, you know, size and this idea of what, you know, running backs have to look like continues to be, you know, fluid. But, you know, as a person, I think it's certainly the Titans community will rally around him. I think the NFL will rally around him. And, you know, you hope for nothing but the best. And I would certainly pay attention to, you know, the charitable works that I'm sure will surround him, and Steve Gleason's charitable works. And, you know, it's when you give, for, you know, any fight against ALS. And I, you know, I actually dated somebody earlier in my life. Her father was diagnosed with ALS, and you kind of see it firsthand. It's certainly a worthwhile cause if you are inclined to give some money or even put in some effort in that area. So
I did want to quickly follow up on this. A lot of talk this week about like the interview, and you know, you got to press a little bit on like the NFL or whatever, football and its role in this. But just from the NFL perspective, has the league gotten any better in terms of actually trying to be head on about these issues, or has it pretty much been consistently avoid? I think as Robby said yesterday, CYA, you know, let's try to, I mean, Pekarsky was talking about people, you know, the league hoping that some of these older guys of this generation, Frank Wycheck, who passed away, donated his brain, they found CTE, will sort of phase out and you don't hear from him as much and people won't talk about these things, which to me is not surprising, but also it's disgusting.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's always going to be player driven. And I think Robbie's right in terms of there will always be some underlying momentum from the NFL's part that is CYA, right? Because it is a threat. It is very much a threat to the game. This is the science behind this, the studies of CTE, that continues to be the challenge that I think the NFL knows from a broader perspective, and the health of football going forward. It starts at, you know, low levels of football. And I think I can only tell you in my immediate family, you know, I've heard discussions from, you know, my brother-in-law, my sister, my you know, just other parents, when it comes time to sort of start sports and their kids are talking about, you know, playing sports. There has certainly been a real discussion about, well, okay, what about football? And let's hold, like, for example, a nephew, let's hold him out, you know, for a while. Let's wait and see. You know, let's not get him involved in peewee football and maybe some of the lower levels of football where they're not even thinking about, you know, brain health. I've been at peewee games, by the way, where I've seen, you know, you see hits and you're like, this is concerning. Like, this is not I think it underscores the reality that it's not something that is focused on from a safety standpoint every single level of football, and that's a problem. And that is what I think the NFL has to be concerned with. Is it's very much a top-down message. You know, the NFL needs to push hard for low levels of football, for the safety conversation to begin there. Do I think they've gotten better? In some respects, yes. You know, I think the helmets have gotten better. I never thought I would see Guardian caps in a game ever in my life. I didn't even think they would last in practice, honestly, when they first came out. And I think it's encouraging to see not only will players wear them in games, but They're a staple in NFL practices. So I think in some respects, yeah, it has gotten better, but there's still limitations. And I think really we won't know until we start to see the CTE data from this era of players, right? I mean, and that's a ways away. I mean, we're talking about decades, if not more, God willing, that these guys, live long, healthy lives. But we're talking about a really long time before we really start to understand the CTE data from this era of players. And that's really the only way we're going to know is if we see it in the data and the health of this current era of football. And we're really talking about guys in the last, maybe I would say probably realistically the last 10 years. I mean, it could take, 20, 30, 40 years before we start to see, some of the data. And that's a really long time. And it's very hard to reflect 20 or 30 or 40 years down the line and go, oh, you know what? Geez, it really hasn't changed. You can't afford for that to be the outcome. So I think it's the only silver lining in something like this, and there's really never any silver lining, is that it once again opens the conversation that really should be present constantly about, player health and in particular brain health in the NFL.
So Charles, the Terrion Arnold story is insane. I mean, he's arrested on charges of armed robbery and kidnapping, got released by the Lions earlier this week. And now, going from here, if it plays out with the charges here that, it's the most serious, he could end up with life in prison when it comes to all these things. So what's your reaction to, I guess, the details on this Terrion Arnold story and kind of where things go from here?
Yeah, I mean, his bond being set at $1 million is, that should speak to kind of how this ended up the way it did with the Detroit Lions and why they moved, to release him. I think some of that had to do with, details as they came out, conversations that they had, the Lions had privately with him. I think, ownership was very much involved in this. So I think it was driven just by the interactions the Lions had with Terrion Arnold prior to this, and the belief that I think not only the front office, but the coaching staff had downplayed it, that it was not something as serious as it certainly has turned out to be. I think was a little bit embarrassing for the organization. Once more of the details came out and it became clear that there was a chance that he could possibly have had no bail and had to sit, in jail until the trial had run its course. I think what's going to be interesting now is, so next week there's going to be a hearing where prosecution is going to push to have an ankle monitor. Terrion Arnold have to wear an ankle monitor. It's going to be driven by the order that he stay away from essentially anybody involved in the prosecution of this case, any witnesses, any of the other defendants in the case. I think there's a very real chance he ends up, being forced to wear an ankle monitor. And now, he's going to, he'll go through the waiver process. I would not say it's an absolute zero chance that he gets claimed. I think it's a high likelihood that he goes unclaimed. But I will remind people that, in the past we have seen teams, for example, when Isaiah Rodgers, the cornerback, received an indefinite suspension by the NFL for gambling activity, there was certainly a thought that, he's going to end up, he won't be on a roster and he may never play again in the NFL. Well, he was released, I believe it was in June of 2023, and by the Indianapolis Colts and the Philadelphia Eagles picked him up in August of 2023 and just put him on the reserve suspended list. There's a possibility that there's an NFL team out there saying, well, it's likely Terrion Arnold is going to be placed on the commissioner's exempt list if he's on a roster. Let's pick him up. Let's see how this plays out. If he gets put on the commissioner's exempt list, obviously he will be, set to the side, and we'll wait and see how this plays out. I still think it's a pretty high likelihood that he goes unclaimed, and just because of the nature of this, the allegations against him and obviously the felonies that are being prosecuted are very, very serious, and it's onboarding something like that for an NFL team is it's eye-opening, but I'll also say we've got certain NFL teams that have had a history, with their front offices of being willing to take a gamble and sort of see where things play out. But I would be shocked if Terrion Arnold sees an NFL football field prior to the conclusion of the case.
Meanwhile, Charles, another, troubled player, Brendan Sorsby, has kind of done the smart thing. He's taking his medicine. We're not, no more suing people, no more trying this or that. He's going to be part of, he's going to be drafted, or he's going to be able to be drafted in 27 right. as long as all goes well. So given that development and based on anything else you've heard from people or talked with people around the league, how do you view, is there anything changed in terms of how he's viewed? Do you feel like there may be a team or two out there that maybe would surprise and take him higher than some might expect? Any sort of change in temperature on Sorsby?
I think a lot's going to matter, what happens between now and the draft. So we talked about this last week when PK was on. There are a lot of different avenues now that teams have to go through with Brendan Sorsby. It's going to be continued treatment. Like there's going to be, the element of taking accountability and responsibility, which the NFL clearly sent the hardest slap when they decided not to hold a supplemental draft. The implication was wide, open for everybody to see where there's an element of accountability here. We feel like it's not being taken. And so we're not compelled to open an avenue to you essentially circumventing the suspension of your eligibility in the NCAA. So I think that accountability is going to be a really big deal for teams. I think the treatment avenues they take and the evidence he can provide is going to be a really big deal for teams. I think the interview process with teams is going to be massive. And then I think from a football standpoint, I'm certain he will have I'm certain the UFL will offer him an opportunity. Although again, it's a spring league. I would be surprised if he were to take that kind of a risk and play football in the UFL. If there were a concrete offer that were to come down the pipeline, I think it's more likely you're going to see he's going to end up spending the next many, many months working with quarterbacks, coaches, refining his process as much as possible. And then his camp will certainly be communicating, I think, with NFL teams on a consistent basis throughout all the way into April of 2027, whether it's status updates. I wouldn't be surprised if there's a big social media push to, showcase what he's doing, who he's working with. It's difficult for him, and a gap year is never good for any player. And there's been a few that we've seen in the past who have suffered from it. But he's a very skilled quarterback, and it's a league that needs quarterbacks. And I think if it only takes one team to really like what they see, to like him as a person and believe that he is being honest about, I made mistakes, I didn't know how out of control it was until ultimately I got caught. I think if a team can cross that bridge, I still believe there's a chance that you might look at a team at the end of the first round. And again, this is so much speculation because it's so far off. But I still think he's got the skill set that you would see a team potentially at the end of the first round who says, we're going to need a quarterback at some point where, we're a really good team. We're not going to be in position for it. And, this is a player that we can take and, essentially do what the Rams are going to do with Ty Simpson and sit him down and be able to have him under our roof and, watch and help him along the road that he's on right now and get him prepared to play in the NFL. But again, this is, as I said to you in PK, and I think I said it to Robby probably in the weeks prior, this is so unprecedented right now. And I think he will probably be one of those players where there's the amount of work done on him as a prospect will be amongst I would say the top, 10, 5% tier of any players who have ever entered into the NFL, just because the sheer risk of any recurrence with gambling with him would be really devastating for any team that adds him. And by the way, one thing I will add to this, the NFL has made it pretty clear that they can weigh in even though right now it's, everything's open back up for him, and he's in the 2027 draft, and we're moving forward, and you're going to be a draft eligible player. So basically they're telling him, okay, we're starting over with you, but we're not throwing up anything in your way. The one thing the NFL has been pretty clear about, though, is they can still hold all of those past acts in the NCAA. If something were to happen on the NFL level, it's going to be a compounding factor. It won't just be, hey, here's this one-off thing you did in the NFL. No, it's going to be a pattern of behavior. So I would say anyone who goes out and drafts Brendan Sorsby, you have to know there's already strikes against him. He's not starting with a completely clean slate because they can weigh in what happened in the NCAA and in any, forthcoming issues.
So, Charles, we've talked with you earlier this offseason about the CJ Stroud situation in Houston. It was reported last week that the sides aren't close on a deal. I think Jeremy Fowler said earlier this week that there's just not a lot of momentum and talks are on pause. I'm just curious, like from Texans fans, from people in Houston, how do they view this? Like, how do they view CJ Stroud? Do they want him signed to a deal like as soon as possible? Do they want to wait and see how this year goes? What's kind of your read on how Texans fans view CJ Stroud right now?
I think Texans fans, it's like any fan base, it's splintered. There are some that he should. I think one of the interesting things that has kind of happened this offseason is when he showed up for OTAs, he has physically he's changed. Like when you look at him, you can see he's in better shape. Like he looks like he's kind of entered that phase that a lot of NFL and particularly quarterbacks enter into, where you start to see, okay, this guy now is spending his off season, whether it's chef prepared meals or just his nutrition and then workouts clearly changed, because you can tell his frame's more muscular. Like he just looks like he's thinned out a little bit in the face. Like he just looks like he's in better shape. And, that excited fans, because they're like, okay, hey, this shows like this guy is definitely, he gets it. He understands where he is right now in the arc of his career. And, you hear sort of the conversations that happen in Houston where people start to dive into the analytics and they go, hey, you know what, his year 3, in terms of some of the analytics that you look at and some of the plays and the percentages, was very similar to his rookie year. And his rookie year was a great year, but that was also a great year for a rookie. So he's not exactly, it's almost like, we've started over again. We got the rookie year CJ Stroud on balance for much of the season in 2025. Now he has to take that big step that we expected in year 2. Now that's got to happen in year 4. I think fans are okay with knowing that his contract is going to be, if not the richest in the league, which is what every quarterback agent is pushing for when they have a guy like this, knowing the massive ramifications of the contract that's coming, I think fans would be okay taking it one more year, just making sure, okay, year 2 was the aberration. Year 1, 3 and 4 have shown us that he's going to be the player that we believe he can be. And certainly, I think Texans fans understand that if you go that route, it complicates it from the end of it gets more expensive. But at this point, it's so expensive anyway, which is why they're so far apart, because CJ Stroud's camp is seeking one of the richest quarterback deals in the NFL, and thus one of the richest deals in NFL history. It's already expensive. So to take it through year 4 and then sit there and say, okay, well, we've got the 5th-year option on this deal. We have franchise tags. If we have to go that route, we'll go that route. It's already going to be expensive as it is. But if he's the player we believe he is, we're okay, riding it out. And I certainly don't get the sense that there's this panic. Like we got to get this done. I think Texans fans do operate with, there's still the memory of Deshaun Watson, right? And kind of how his career progressed and then dramatically changed in terms of his relationship with the team. And I don't think anybody is in a huge hurry. Obviously, Deshaun, it wasn't, certainly wasn't strictly football. But I just don't think there's anybody's hammering the gas pedal to try and get this done and criticizing the team. I think they know what the team is made of right now, and they want to see more from Stroud. That's not just, hey, I showed up and I'm in better shape.
All right, last thing, Charles. One of the the Diana Rossini stuff keeps coming out. We've got the whatever the camera. The
body
term
cam
is. Thank you, the body cam. And
Yeah.
I'm just wondering if is there any fallout here from, because obviously it turns out to be like a text with Kevin O'Connell, right? This guy's a Vikings fan. This cop is a Vikings fan. But like the quarterback sucks comment, and I understand it's already like real questionable up there, but like, is there any fallout within that organization from that situation?
I don't want to speak to a personal, whatever, personal relationships another reporter has with their sources. I mean, I will say my general thought process was, I personally would never want to be on camera showing a police officer, or really anyone else. I would not want to be on camera showing anyone private conversations I'm having with a source, right? Any source in the league. Yeah. I don't want to be like, oh, well, here, look at my conversation with this source. And then the comments about, Brian Daboll wants that job, or it's, I mean, I can't, maybe someday Diana speaks, to that herself and what that exchange was and how she feels about it. Maybe the Vikings speak about it. Maybe Brian Daboll speaks about it. I mean, I don't, it's hard for me to really get into that and speculate. I will tell you that, and again, this is just my own personal experience. The sources I have are very, very, particular. I'll put it that way. They're particular about whether or not I am identifying them in information, or I am speaking about conversations that we're having. Particularly in situations where there's anonymity there, and they know there's anonymity there, they expect me to respect that at all times. And if I don't, I literally had a source once who, be careful about how I say this. I quoted them anonymously, and it was a wildly innocuous anonymous quote, and yet it was phraseology that they use in the building. And to this day, every single time I see that source, every year, the source says the phrase to me, because they're still kind of ticked off about me using that particular quote and a phrase that they use. And so that tells you, do sources tend to care? Yeah, I mean, they tend to care. So yeah, whether there's any fallout, I mean, that's between Diana and anyone else.
No, I'm sorry, I meant within the Vikings organization with basically it almost sounds like it's O'Connell saying that McCarthy sucks. I mean, again, that's me taking a little leap, but
yeah, that's a little leap. I mean, it's not. I mean, how many times have we as reporters? I mean, look, I'll be straight up. It's not the first time I've probably said, yeah, that guy sucks. Like, it's just, I'm sure I've said it before, and it's not.
JJ McCarthy does suck. I'll say it.
Well, hey, based on what my sources have told me, that guy sucks. No, it's usually me watching the player saying, and my 7.5 second 40-yard dash self, my very, very high level of body fat self, commenting on a guy who's one of the greatest athletes in the world at his sport and saying that guy sucks, so I would just take it with a grain of salt. I don't know that there's any, fault from that aspect inside the Vikings organization. And listen, man, we've talked about JJ McCarthy all off season, right? And I told you guys repeatedly, they are not looking for a competition. They're looking for a starter.
Yep.
That didn't come from nowhere, right? So that comes from knowing and understanding what's going on inside the organization. That alone should tell people far more about how JJ McCarthy's, development has been viewed inside the team than anything Diana Rossini says about, who, and by the way, she said the quarterback. I mean, maybe she's talking about Carson Wentz.
Maybe so.
He is a quarterback for the Vikings.
Charles,
you're taking another leap there.
That's right. Yeah. That's right. Charles, thank you as always. Appreciate it. I hope you have a great 4th of July weekend, and we'll talk to you next week.
Absolutely. Appreciate it, guys. Have a safe travel, or have a safe holiday.
You as well.
Thanks,
Charles Robinson, our guest. We'll react to what Charles had to say, get back into NHL free agency coming up next as well. Robby and Rexrode, 102.5 The Game. Robby and Rexrode, 1025 The Game. I got some tickets to give away. A 4-pack of tickets to the Borchetta Bourbon Music City Grand Prix at the Nashville Super Speedway coming up on July 18th and July 19th. The caller 3 at 615-737-1025. Caller 3 will win. Family 4-pack of tickets to the Borchetta Bourbon Music City Grand Prix. Appreciate Charles Robinson from Yahoo Sports, or he's not from Yahoo Sports anymore. I got to get out of that habit. That's like the 5th time I've done that, Joe.
Yeah, PK did it last week. It's an easy one to make. I think there'll be something else to say.
I mean, what if Kuharski, nice little tease there. What if Kuharski one day isn't working for PaulKuharski.com anymore? And I just call him PaulKuharski.com the rest of his life.
Just call him Paul Kuharski. Hey, what's up? What's up, .com?
Paul Kuharski, PaulKuharski.com.
That has got to be. I must say, like, and look, first of all, I think it's awesome. I think whenever someone in our business can like make it work with their own thing, with their own site, that's fantastic.
Sure.
The idea of being your own boss, but like to be at a press conference, and be Paul Kuharski from, PaulKuharski.com, of course. It's like, wow. I don't know. I might be like, hey, it's Joe Rexrode here. Anyway, my question is, instead of joerexrode.net.org/ long fuse.
I think the opportunity is there for you to make your own site. You could kind of join PK in this effort. I mean, you don't have to leave the Athletic or anything, but you could do both.
Yeah, I could. Yeah. I think I'm good right now, but good thought though.
Joe, your thoughts on the Maverick Bork trade that Chris McFarland made yesterday with the Nashville Predators and the Dallas Stars? The second and third rounder going to Dallas. Preds get back Maverick Bork and Ilya Lyubushkin. Lyubushkin, a little bit of a throw in there on defense. But Bork, 24 years old, scored 20 goals last year on a team that had, a loaded lineup in front of him, can play center, can play.
I really like it. We mentioned it earlier. I think Vingan, saying, great job of, weaponizing, the cap space, and also just a great job of looking at Dallas's situation. We talked about it yesterday about teams with offer sheets and what they could do with Dallas and the bind they're in. And the Preds are the ones who end up benefiting from it and taking advantage of it. And like you mentioned the throw in, but that's what, a year and 3 something, right?
Yeah.
So it's not
that bad.
Yeah, you didn't take much on. I mean, I like it. We don't know exactly what he's going to be, but there is a lot of promise based on his path to here. And now it's got to be exciting for him, I think, to look at this opportunity to grow with this team and hopefully be a top 6 staple and a guy who produces. And again, a younger, faster roster is materializing before our eyes.
It is. And now they're going to be interesting to see what happens from here. Like, who gets moved out? Are there more trades to come? I mean, you look at the roster. I mean, just the NHL roster right now, there's a lot of forwards. They got a lot of guys right now. So what does that look like in terms of, how much movement do you want to see? Like, how interested is Chris McFarland in, giving Brady Martin a shot to make the team out of camp, which I would assume there's some interest there, right? Like, you want to have the door open at least for him to be able to do that. And if he proves he's not ready, well, then he's not ready. But like, it's something you want to give the opportunity in camp for Brady Martin and other guys, like other young guys, to at least feel like they've got a shot to make the team here. So my guess is, Joe, you're not done seeing some moves and some trades from Chris McFarland.
Yeah, there's a bit of a glut, which may be part of a bigger plan. Actually, do we have the sound?
Sure.
I wouldn't mind playing that again with the Doherty question.
We will do.
We have about 14, 15 when Bork signs forwards signed for under contract for next season. Defenseman, I think it's like 8 or 9. That seems like a lot for where you need to be for a season. Does that suggest that maybe you're working on something to move more players out because you've got 25, 26 guys right now?
Maybe. Yeah, maybe. Yeah. We're going to try, in all seriousness, if we can improve the team, we're going to try to do it. I think the back end is something that we want to find a little bit more puck skill, a little more transition as part of our game. It's not easy to do, right? as you can see by free agency, there wasn't a lot of those defensemen available. There's a reason for that. Those are the hard to get assets, really hard, right? Centers, top two line players. And I think we're in that age now where the cap's going up and teams aren't going to be as squeezed to get their own guys done, but it's going to require some creativity. It's going to require, threading the needle at times, and it may require some tough decisions or moving some players that maybe you wouldn't normally look to move in order to improve key areas of the ice. And I think defending in the middle of the ice is sort of like, up the middle in baseball. You got to be strong in those positions, and for us, we don't feel we're strong enough yet in those areas.
So that was Chris McFarland yesterday. So it kind of feels like more stuff could be coming there for the Nashville Predators.
Going.
Yeah, or going. There is that too. 615-737-1025, our phone number. We will wrap up the show coming up next. Robby and Rexrode, 1025 The Game. Robby and Rexrode brought to you by Green Ventures Landscaping for homes and businesses that want to stand out, not blend in. Visit greenventureslandscaping.com. We are live from our Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning Game Nashville studios, home of the $99 yearly Beehive membership where the buzz is always about great service. Robbie Stanley, Ian Safar, Joe Rexrode from SeatGeek.com with us on the program today.
Yeah, some interesting reaction to that. Some people shaming me for waiting. That's fine. I get it. But I'm telling you, if you're a ticket provider and it takes more than an hour, again, it's the day of the event to deliver electronic tickets, then there's an issue. And if you can't converse with your customers, there's another issue. I'm sorry.
How many Dave Matthews shows we get to this summer? How many are we at right now? 3?
3. And I think that's probably it, other than potentially they're at a festival in Louisville in September. We're talking about it, but yeah, probably. So it'll be 3 or 4, and it usually settles in right around 3.
I'm just proud of you for pronouncing Louisville correctly. That's good stuff.
Louisville, that's right.
Oh, yeah, very nicely done.
Thank you. Well,
very nicely done out there.
If Mauricio Pochettino can sing Country Roads, I can say Louisville correctly.
So we've made the determination we got to find some Belgian waffles at some point between now and Monday and start eating them all up.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. Like, can we get like some Belgian waffles and put like the faces of some of their best players on it or something like that, or syrup all over them?
Exactly.
I do. Like, I actually hadn't thought about Belgian beer in a while, and now I'm like, man,
Sorry.
If I was drinking beer, I would absolutely get myself some Belgian beer. Oh, well.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to bring up things of the past to tempt you or anything, I'm trying to help you with the fight against gout.
Yeah. Well, Chris on the YouTube chat suggested joe.rexroad.com/gout. So we could
be a great website.
Yeah, it could be. And Jess points out with PK that he does name drop his website quite a bit. That's the thing. I mean, look, if you're him, it's your business. You want to put that out there, right? You want people to come to your site. So, I mean, he could have named it something different, like whatever, like TitansInsider.com or something, right? Like, you could have done something where it's like referring to what you're doing with the site, but he went PaulKuharski.com.
Paul Kuharski. If I mention my name, it's Kuharski, and it's PaulKuharski.com.
That's potentially my favorite drop of yours ever.
I hate to smell my own farts here, but my God, the .com is just glorious at the end there.
Hey, Alante, you gonna cover anybody out there this year?
Oh man.
Oh, I'm here with Touchdown Taylor.
Oh boy. You know what? He's earned a big gulp with the amount of abuse he takes on our program. That big gulp is earned.
Yeah, I mean, but the Shaq take was just so bad. Again, when you call him out for a take, I mean, that should be a slap in his face. But no, I mean, the Shaq take is bad. It's like, I can't hear it. Well, listen for a minute, jackass, because that's hilarious stuff. If he was mumbling and saying nothing of value, then that'd be one thing. But it's like when he and Barkley start going at each other, it's like the greatest thing ever. But yes, I screwed up with the. I'm going to make it up with the big gulp. I'm going to make it up. I don't know how exactly, but it will. Next time that we're all together, it will be. There will be a compensation.
Ian, we got any 4th of July plans coming up this weekend?
No, we do not. Thank goodness.
Probably good.
Yep.
Yeah, that's a beautiful thing.
Yep. No, I got nothing. I mean, maybe the neighbors were kind of saying, hey, we might hang out at the pool tomorrow, or maybe it's tomorrow. But no, we have no plans. So I'm kind of looking forward to it.
Joe, you going to take a lawn chair up to the top of your roof or something and just watch the fireworks show in Nolensville that's happening every night?
No, it's just the nightly, okay, how can I comfort Gus without just drugging him to sleep? Is there any way to make him feel? So I actually, Katie and I were seriously talking to, our text line is a terrific resource in a lot of ways. And people were suggesting the dog earmuffs. So we are going to look into those. The natural question of Like, will those stay on? Like,
Right.
It makes sense to me. But
I've heard of
people are
like
saying,
thunder jackets for dogs.
Yeah.
It's like a sweater of some sort that, I don't know, gives them
Provides
a little
comfort,
compression, and it makes them feel a little bit safer.
yeah, Katie mentioned that one too. Yeah. And so, yeah, I guess that's fine. Again, like I'm holding the trembling poor little guy, as tightly as I can squeeze.
So not comforting enough, I suppose, huh?
I mean, I would definitely be interested if these earmuffs can actually stay on and he's not completely obsessed with trying to get them off. That might be the answer, but it probably in the short term, it's just going to be a few days of gritting our teeth and trying to get him through. That's what it's become.
Start jamming Metallica. Start jamming Metallica all around the house, and they'll drown out the noise of the fireworks. And Gus be just fine. A little metal in there.
I wonder if that would work.
I don't know. It could be. It could have the opposite effect.
Yeah, it's like on top of like the fireworks, you have this James Hetfield screaming at you. Wow, thanks a lot.
Appreciate it, Dad. It's good stuff in there.
Like, oh shoot, sorry, Gus. Sorry about that, buddy.
It's been a couple years since I've actually shot some fireworks off. Well, we had a mishap is not the right word. We had a little bit of a close call last time I was shooting fireworks, so I think we're avoiding that this year. We had the part of a countertop exploded. That was fun.
Oh my goodness! With what?
We had it. It's a long story. We had some stuff out there in the middle of the field that was trying to help balance some things, and one of them exploded. We all survived, though.
Yeah, that's good. Wes from Hermitage says, "I want you to know I've been shooting fireworks off for 2 weeks. You are the problem, Wes. It's not special anymore if you do it every day for 2 weeks. Again, this is not the 12 days of the 4th of July. This is not that. This is not that holiday.
Everybody have a safe time this weekend. We're going to be out until Monday. Rexrode's on vacation next week, so you won't hear from Rexrode for a while at this point. Joe, have a good time.
When I come back, we'll be talking about how we are in the semifinals.
That's right.
Right?
That's right. Hope everybody has a great weekend. Next Man Up with Jake Lyman coming up next. You're listening to 102.5 The Game.